Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. This is Pradeep and you're watching Vlog of Note. So now we have information about the Samsung Galaxy Exynos 9830 processor and the Samsung Galaxy 990 processor Exynos, a whole new series of processor. But there is a but and we need to talk about it in this video. Let's get started. If you're a newbie to the whole world of Samsung, the mad scientist laboratory that is Samsung, you don't know probably that they have two series of processors. The first is the Exynos series of processors that they make themselves, and the second is the Qualcomm Snapdragon processors which they use from Qualcomm. Obviously, the Qualcomm Snapdragon processor comes to the US and China, and the Exynos processor comes to India and Europe. Now, I'm usually okay with this because this allows Samsung to keep the prices of the Exynos powered processor phones a little bit more reasonable, or at least as reasonable as is possible for a flagship in 2019. However, this year we had a bit of a problem because of them. Our story begins with the Apple A12 processor, which was launched last year with the Apple iPhone XS, XS Max, and this processor was the world's first widely available 7nm processor. If you're unfamiliar with the world of processors, you probably don't know that the smaller the processor, a 7nm processor is actually better than a 10nm processor. This is because it is both more efficient in that the battery life will be better and the performance will be better. The Apple A12 processor was excellent. It was one of the fastest processors available. It practically smoked the competition. However, a lot of you will remember that the Note 9, both the Snapdragon version and the Exynos version, was actually better in terms of battery life. This was probably because of Samsung's outmuscling the competition in terms of putting a larger battery on the Samsung Galaxy Note 9. Anyway, coming to this year, Samsung in the Samsung Galaxy S10 gave us again two versions of their processors. You had the Exynos 9820 and the Snapdragon 855, and here's where everything went wrong. A lot of Samsung fans in India and Europe couldn't help but notice that the Exynos 9820 was actually a lot slower than the Snapdragon version. This was an 8nm processor. It was a bit of an odd beast, and it was built on Samsung's older FMM process. Now, the Snapdragon 855 on the other hand was built on the 7nm processor, and it was built using EUV technology. If you're a nerd like you and me, then you probably know that the Samsung Galaxy Exynos version powered S10 was actually a lot slower. But if you're a common person, imagine you buying a phone in the US or buying a phone in India and you realizing that the same phone is actually a little bit faster if you buy it in the US. Generally, Exynos processors have been better on the single core performance, but multi-core they tend to lag, and because Snapdragon powers the majority of Android phones, I think Android runs better on multi-core operating systems. Also, the Adreno 640 GPU, which was in the Snapdragon 855, was a beast of a GPU. Samsung, with the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 and the Note 10 Plus, attempted to right this wrong and gave us the Exynos 9825 processor, which was the world's first widely available second generation 7nm EUV technology processor. And to be fair to Samsung, they did us all a world of good. The Exynos 9825 was actually a really good processor, and it had good performance and good battery life when compared to the Snapdragon 855 Plus. However, and this is the big problem, Apple came along to completely destroy Samsung's Galaxy. The Apple A13 chip was built on the exact same second generation 7nm EUV technology as the Note 10 Plus, and it practically smoked the competition. It was better in terms of battery life because Apple actually gave it a bigger battery, and it was better in terms of performance. If you take a look at the Geekbench listings for all mobile phones, not just Android or not just iPhones, you'll see that the iPhones practically run away with the top of the table. The Apple A13 is the fastest processor ever put into a smartphone, period. Now, let's come to this tweet by Max Weinbach, one of our favorite XDA developers, and he discovered while playing with the One UI 2.0 beta in the Samsung Galaxy S10 that there is going to be a 9830 processor coming to the Samsung Galaxy S11. A lot of us were excited because the 9825 was good and the 9830 will obviously be better. Unfortunately, we don't know anything else about the 9830. It will definitely be better, in my opinion, than the Snapdragon 865 processor, and we do have a leaked Geekbench listing for the Snapdragon 865. This would have ended there if it weren't for Samsung's Tech Day. Samsung actually hosts this event where they show off some of their latest technologies, and they unveiled the Samsung Galaxy Exynos 990 processor. It was a completely new series of processors. We know that the 9830 is coming to the Samsung Galaxy S11, so we can only assume that the 990 is going to be coming to the Samsung Galaxy Note 11 and the Note 11 Plus. So we're really excited. What we do know about the Exynos 990 is that it will bring 20% more battery efficiency. So if your Note 10 Plus is giving you about 8 hours of screen on time, then your Note 11 Plus is probably going to give you about 10 hours of screen on time, which is awesome. It will also increase the performance by a rather specific 13%. I think this one is a moot number. Anyway, the performance will be better, and it gives us the Mali G77 GPU, which is the first GPU to be built on the Valhall technology, whatever that is. It will undoubtedly bring Mali on the same level as the next generation Adreno GPU. The two more things that are exciting about the Exynos 990 is that it brings the Exynos 5123 modem, which can give us downlink speeds of 5.1 gbps, and it finally uses DDR5 RAM. Now, as you know, a lot of Android phones come with oodles of RAM, and I would like to see a processor take advantage of that RAM for something more than keeping all your apps in the background open. This would again be a happy story if Apple didn't show up as usual to ruin Samsung's Galaxy. So the Nikkei Asian review has leaked that Apple in the Apple iPhone 12 and the 12 Pro Max and the 12 Pro is going to give us the A14 Bionic chip, which is, get this, going to be the world's first 5nm processor, which means it will not only be more efficient but also miles ahead of the competition. I'm going to wrap this up by telling you that if Android was a lean operating system, or if it was a bloated operating system, which it is, and it had high performance hardware, then this comparison wouldn't matter so much. On the other hand, the iOS is both leaner and it has higher processor to back it up. That means for a long time to come, if you're an Android user, you're going to be a second-class citizen when it comes to performance. That's about it for this video, guys. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Drop your comments on the Exynos 990 and the Exynos 9830 in the comment section down below. Subscribe to the Vlog of Note channel on YouTube. Ring that notification bell so that you never miss a video, and I will see you guys in the next week's episode.